5.
Love it, I love it.
I've never known that a fish can make that sound.
I don't think anyone really did until that video came out.
4.
As your lighthouse is okay? I mean, base stations?
My lighthouse okay? Yeah, my lighthouse is okay.
3.
You sound good, Diffuse. It's very full-bodied. I like your voice.
Full body.
Thank you.
That's actually like watching your stream. I won't lie. I like how you talk. It's good. It's good noise.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's like, oh. Hi.
You're too sweet. I swear.
Hello.
2.
Say hello to my little friend.
He's dying over there.
No X given.
And welcome back to Top Dogs. As you know, here's Stream. I am here. And there's our little devil, Whiplash.
Yeah,
we also have
make
someone
it
else.
Week.
Oh, actually, before, explain why you couldn't.
Work. That's all I can say. Work.
Yeah, they just randomly called him at the last minute. But we're not alone today. We actually have a special guest. You want to introduce yourself?
I mean, do I have to? Okay, that's fine. I guess I can come in. That's cool. But yes, I am Diffuse Moose. As many people, well, not many, maybe like 2 people out there on the internet know, I'm a variety streamer on Twitch.tv. I've been streaming now for probably like around, 4 years, something like that. I've also been working in the game industry for going on, I think, February will be 19 years. It's hard to believe. So, but that's me, and I really appreciate you all having me here. It's honestly an honor. So thank you very much.
We're welcome. We're actually more honored for you to be on this show.
Yeah.
Oh, stop.
Get yourself
Great to have you,
comfortable,
Diffuse.
Yeah. Here we go.
By the way, interesting fact that most people don't know: when me, Whiplash, and Coltyn, and we actually were on a panel together on FWA. If people didn't know,
We were.
But this was like an unofficial episode of Top Dogs.
Oh no, this wasn't even.
This was
like the original in live version.
But this was us getting so we could say this was a test panel to really get us ready for what this is.
And it's funny, actually. It's funny because, since it was mine and Fiction's first time being in front of people, which was completely obvious, I was getting into it and talking way too much. And Fiction, your statements were a little short, and Diffuse was showing us both up. He was like, "I know what I'm doing here."
Yeah.
And now,
no, but honestly, you were amazing in that panel.
I don't think we're sitting at your level yet because we still have much improvements to make on, and we have improved though. This is not that hard as
we have. I'm not like nervous to get in front of people anymore. Like when we were at BLFC, Coltyn could already see that. That what you were saying? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, Diffuse. Now I want to ask you, why the moose? Is there a story
really
behind
good.
it?
Yeah. Okay. Do you want the short or long answer?
Well, it depends on what's comfortable for you.
It doesn't matter. I mean, okay. So I got into furry fandom back in the early mid '90s because I'm just that old. And I kept it very, very, very hidden from a lot of people. And for a while there, I kind of just stopped really getting involved at all, outside of drawing some anthro characters and stuff like that. But eventually, I got into doing cosplay and stuff like that. And I wanted to create my own at the time it was a Facebook page or whatever, Facebook creators page. And I needed a name for it, and it's not as fancy as let me look at every Sona and what's a good fit for me. I just picked one based off of my last name and went with it. And phonetically, Moose is part of my last name. So I got lucky in a way that I feel like a lot of the characteristics of a moose do fit me very, very well. Like I'm usually pretty easygoing. When you back me in a corner, we're gonna have some problems. You know what I mean? But yeah. But like for instance, yeah, I mean like, and I think that a lot of people look at moose as more of like a, I don't want to say imposing, but compared to like a, you know, like a deer sona or something like that, I couldn't see myself being a deer sona or anything. So it just, everything kind of just worked out in a way. And yeah, so I wanted something that would kind of, after learning things through one of my friends who also got me, but this is really, really good in my opinion. If you have a different name across multiple platforms, I think we even talked about this at the panel. But
we did.
Yes, try to unite your name and have the same name across everywhere, because it makes it a lot easier to find you. And like I wanted something that was recognizable. Yeah, and I'm like, what else kind of like hopefully rolls off the tongue a little bit, that like rhymes. So I looked up different words that rhyme with moose, which are very, very few. I've learned. And diffuse meant to be spread out, like
the moose caboose.
Not centralized. Caboose. Yeah, we do have the moose caboose. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I kind of did something similar with my whole TikTok. My first account was Stream Arcanine, and it got banned because I triggered safety measures with work VPNs and stuff. So I switched to ArcaDad. Because of my comment section. And then I realized, okay, I'm starting to like rebuild myself up. I'm like, I gotta make sure what, like you just said, things need to line up. So I changed my Telegram, my Discord, my Twitter, like everything changed to match the name. So I think it's a very good point for anyone out there that has multiple names and wants to start building some rep. It's good that your name matches everywhere. So if they don't have direct link, they can kind of guess what the link is, the URL for the webpage, and it's easier like that.
Same here. My name is pretty much the same across everything, except in vrchat. I left out 2 numbers in my vrchat name, because I only give that out to people I actually do talk to.
Oh yeah.
Well, one of them said 2 numbers.
But there are cases, like I've seen people who, you know, if you achieve a certain level of, dare I say, fame, you know, even within the fandom, and you don't want people finding like your Telegram, for instance. I know people who just they don't have, their name is nothing like what you'd find on their like stream accounts and stuff like that. Like it's just different, so they can maintain their privacy. So yeah.
True. No, which is understandable. And honestly, I'm gonna say if someone finds me, messages me, the chance of me texting them back that same day is gonna be next to nothing, because I am so bad at getting back with people. Like my Discord and Telegram is like an archive of unread messages.
Oh boy.
I feel you on that.
Yeah,
I think a lot of us do.
It gets crowded on my end as well. It's kind of hard to keep up sometimes. I'm very busy IRL, and I like spending time. Like somebody texts me, "Hello, how you doing?" I don't have time for this. But if you ask me a like direct question, like how do I do this, then I'll answer you. But casual conversation, most of the time I don't have time for it. I wish I did. I don't. But yeah,
I feel like, that sometimes.
What you do, like, since we're our team community chat, I usually actually try to pop in there at least once every day, you know, interact with people. And in my Discord server, I also try to, you know, pop in there a couple times a day, since I'm, like, the owner of it, so I have to, like, keep interaction with people. So, at least try to keep that up.
Yeah. Oh, now I wanted to ask, so, what is it like to have Lil Nas X, the new president of League of Legends?
It's been great, you know. I actually didn't know about it. They just came up and like, here's a gold desk, a gold chair.
Wow.
And I got a like a red phone they put, you know, with his anthem. That was kind of weird. Mm-hmm. But it's pretty great. It's been pretty great so far. Lots of bling. I still can't tell if the gold is real or not yet. I might try and pawn it this week and see what happens, you know.
See, yeah, maybe you can do something. Okay.
I am so far behind. What a Lil Nas do now?
I just found out about it too this past week.
But did you know Lil Nas X stole my son? You can find it on Twitter.
Wait, he stole your husky son?
Yeah, he stole my husky son. Yes, he did. I want my baby back. Thank you. If you're watching this, Lil Nas X.
The curious thing is, I love like anytime you see him on Twitter, it's like it seems to keep going into like the furry category, and I'm just here for it.
Yeah, I'm here for it too.
He's embracing everything.
Oh yeah, I'm just expecting one day he's going to commission someone, and they're gonna have to be hush hush about it, and then he's going to come out as let's see.
That'd be great.
What kid? Okay, in all honesty, we already know like the most, to be fair, the gayest persona is foxes.
Oh my
This is
God.
how I see it.
He should.
But I feel like Lil Nas X will be something else.
Okay, message to
be
Lil
something
Nas
else.
X. Please don't be a fox. Please don't be a fox. You can be anything you want, just don't be a fox. You'll start with a bad rep.
I mean, he could probably make an album about furries if he wanted to.
Oh my God, yeah, he could have.
Did he also, didn't he buy like a fursuit or something like that at one point? Like a
Yeah, a very
cheap one?
ripped off version.
Yeah, okay, that was it. That was him. I remember
He
someone
did
like
know
really
better, but that's okay.
yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
what was that thing he said he was wanted people to come in fursuits, like in their heads and stuff? And he did, and he took pictures of it and posted on his Twitter account. That's what that was, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Oh my
it
God.
was like a Wish version of that. It was bad. I don't think Lil Nas knew that, but it's okay.
No, honestly, if he wanted to, he probably could just go find someone and commission them. Like, there's plenty of people out there for commission fursuits from.
Yeah.
dude.
Oh,
They trip over themselves to get his commission. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, Lil
you're
Nas?
good.
Oh God.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
For
maybe,
sure.
so
so not only you play games, but you work on them too. What are some of your duties and responsibility as a senior UI artist?
Oh boy. Yeah. So as a heads up there, if you guys don't know, the reason why I know you guys asked that question, I do work at Riot Games and I work on Valorant as a senior UI artist. So I'd say that the responsibilities vary from studio to studio. I mean, I'm talking, it just depends. This studio at Riot, we have ramped up a lot more. This is the most amount of UI artists / visual designers. The terms are like interchangeable, honestly, depending on where you go.
Okay.
But this is the largest team I've ever worked on. So my job is definitely, I'd say, more specific now than like ever before. So I work mainly on the progression team. So like, a lot of the front end stuff. I'm working on a new feature I can't talk about, but like I've worked on like the Arsenal screen. And I even worked on some in-game stuff, like some of the kill banners, like when you get the kills and you get like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the ace and all that kind of stuff. Worked on some of that stuff. But like a day-to-day is, like you go to like your stand-up meeting and kind of report on what you're working on. Any kind of like blockers from, whether it's engineering, design, that kind of thing. You also work very closely with usually at least one UX designer at a time. Sometimes if you're working on multiple projects or features, you got to, report to all those different UX people. A lot of documentation where I'm working right now. That wasn't always the case throughout my career, but a lot of documentation to go through. It gets a little bit exhausting and I can't even keep up. It's kind of like what you guys were talking about too with like Telegram. We use Slack at work, and it's just like, I think Riot is known to have like the most Slack channels out of any company out there in the world. It's actually insane. So I can't keep up between that and emails. I'm like, I just kind of at times put horse blinders on and get my job done. But the actual work that I do, I can do anything from, I haven't done as much icon work as much over the years, the past couple of years, which I'm okay with. I'm not. Icons are one of the most difficult thing that you can do and like get good at, in my opinion, with this job. So if you're really good at making solid and really cool looking icons, I think it'd be, really in demand. So work on your icons. If you're getting into UI art, there are of course just design principles you should always look into. But I mostly work on like screen layouts and coming up with concepts for what new features might look like, but also implementation when it comes time to it. So it's not just because some artists can do this where they're doing just conceptualization, and they'll throw it kind of, as I say, they throw it over the fence to like engineering or someone else to totally get everything implemented into the game. I'm not super technical, and the engineers do help me. The programmers help me to get things in the game, but then it's up to me to like make sure the layout matches the concept, work on animation effects and stuff like that. So yeah, that's without going into like more boring detail. That's the gist.
That's fine.
Of kind of what I do.
Find that
Yeah.
interesting.
I know, but I'll say I'm for sure there's some people out there who want to listen to, what you consider the boring side of the details, but, they would like to know more about it. But
Sure.
that's fine if you don't want to. Oh, well.
No, I mean, and that's a thing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no! I just realized what just happened. I think he'll be all right. He'll take care of the floor for us.
Oh, there he's back.
Did you find the carpet very comfortable?
I don't think they're
I think
actually
I might be
back.
doing
Oh, right. Oh, there. Sort of. Almost.
Fuck.
Oh, I think. Oh,
God,
Oh.
I lost visual.
Oh, you're like
it's
me.
okay.
My cable is still. Oh, well, there's one.
Watch your mouth. Oh.
Yeah, there's Coltyn over there. Look at poor Coltyn.
I had to do that. It's a good joke. I had to.
No, just look at Colton. He just looks at us and is like, I gotta work with these f***ing morons.
More work. More bleeps. More bleeps you got to put in the edit.
Just do like Rico as one of our cuss words, like bleeps.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh
You
no!
have a new lap mate. You've got a new lap mate.
God.
Look at this.
Ooh, it's a nice lap puppy you got there.
Oh god! Oh.
Ass for days.
On second thought. Oh. All right.
Oh, I think he went to go fix his camera, so he'll be right back. Okay, but
that's
we can
fine.
continue on with this.
Okay,
Alright, so
All right.
he'll be
So,
back.
so how did you get into the gaming industry, and why art?
Very, very good. Ever since I was little, I used to always love video games. I grew up with. I don't know how far to go back here, but I had an issue, according to my first grade teacher, who said that I had an issue with my hand-eye coordination, and she actually recommended to my mom, my dad, get him a video game system, because it'll help him with that. And bless that heckin' teacher, man. It got me, well, for better for worse, health-wise, it got me into video games. So I'm a freaking, couch potato slashing in front of my computer a lot, but it got me into video games, and of course sparked my interest in the game industry as a whole, like wanting to make it my profession. I played all the way from the first system was an Atari 2600, and I had almost every system in between since. It wasn't until I got into I know that you guys have it later in the some of the questions you guys have for me, but with the fur fighter stuff that I've been doing, the pixel art, that was also inspired by Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Like that, as many games that I played up to that point, there were a lot of great ones, but that one in particular, when I saw the revamp of the portraits in that game, I'm like, that is amazing. I love that art. It inspired me to take it seriously. Like I want to start getting into art more seriously, and that's of course when I also try to get into doing more anthro art and improving my skills. But as far as getting into the actual game industry, that is actually kind of an interesting story to me anyway. I don't know, I think it's pretty cool because this is back in 2004 when they didn't have back in my day, they didn't have smartphones and stuff like that. So you had to go on in Google Maps, I think was not even around. I had to go on what's it called? MapQuest.
Yeah, MapQuest.
MapQuest, yeah, back then. I had to go on MapQuest, and I basically went on websites that I knew of. I think it was oh god, I forgot the name. I forgot the name of the website, but there's a website that had a list of a bunch of game studios all across the country. And most of the game studios back then, and I'd say still even today, a lot of them are on the West Coast. And unfortunately, at the time, my dad was going through some rough times financially. He allowed me to work from home for a year on a total conversion of a Half-Life 2 game, basically. But times were getting tough, and he's like, here, pack up your stuff. We're going to go take a road trip in your car to California. I lived in Atlanta at the time. From Atlanta to LA. We drove out there, and he's like, we're going to find you a job. and I'm going to be out there with you for 2 weeks. After that, you're on your own. And I was probably like 21 years old or something like that. I was freaking out. I was so nervous. But I found like about a dozen or so different game studios that were out there. And at the time, I might have had a digital portfolio, but I even went the extra mile. I printed out a whole bunch of resumes, put them in like a nice kind of blue envelope to hand off to these places. On top of that, I put my digital portfolio on a little small disc, little CD that they could open up, and like nice presentations they can open up, put it in the computer and take a look at it. Didn't need to do all that. I even put like a fancy label on it and everything. I'm like, I gotta like kind of impress here, you know? So we went door to door to different game studios. And it wasn't until maybe like the second to last studio, because either these studios, they rejected me, I never heard back, or they were closed, they were missing. Like the locations on the map, they weren't there, we couldn't find it. But yeah, the second to last studio was Kush Games. They worked on AAA sports titles like MLB at the time, MLB 2K 4, 5, 6, etc. NHL, those the same, 2K 4, 5, 6, etc. I knocked on their door and they're like, you know what? Because they actually remembered me from when I applied like months ago, like virtually, and I never heard from them. And the art director's like, I remember you. And he's like, all right, come on over here. I sat down and took an art test working on I think like a chicken mascot, like 3D texture. They wanted me to make it from scratch. And he actually asked me, he's like, you want to use a Wacom tablet or whatever? I guess they call Wacom, whatever, Wacom tablet. I call it Wacom. That's me. And I said, I never owned one before. I'm used to working with a mouse. He's like, that is insane, but if that's what you're used to, go ahead. And I had 2 hours to work on creating this texture with a bunch of reference and everything. And then after the test was done, I was called into the CEO's office. He's like, we can give you an internship, but hey, we don't F around here, basically, this is your chance to prove yourself. You got yourself in the door. There you go. So that's kind of how I got in the game industry and never looked back. So yeah. But art, by the way, art has always been my thing. I just love art. I could never do like engineering, like programming. Couldn't do it.
No, programming seems to be on a different level. Like, because I know what programming does with just codes and stuff. And I've watched some people on YouTube like do coding, and I'm like, this is just like numbers put together in a certain pattern, and I have no idea how it works.
Same.
I'm curious, like, what are the few companies that like didn't like call back, if I may ask, if you're comfortable answering that one?
I kind of wish I kept the stack of papers just to reference it, But one I think in particular that I remember. One of the cool things about going to door to door is like sometimes you actually got in, like as far as you can get a little peek in, And I'm pretty sure I'm trying to remember if this is true or not, but I remember seeing an eyeball, so I can't remember if it was Neversoft or not. If they were around back then, I'm pretty sure they were.
Oh, Neversoft.
Neversoft,
did Tony Hawk? They did never or Tony Hawk.
They did Tony Hawk Underground. Tony Hawk
and Guitar Hero. And Guitar Hero.
Yeah, so I think that was one of the studios I went to. And I went to 2K as well, down in Carlsbad, and that's again between LA and San Diego.
I like how
you're saying the most. Well, EA back then. Here's the thing: is EA back in the day were actually good. I mean, we know how they are now. That's all I can say. It's probably a good thing.
The debacle with the programmer's wife thing, that debacle that happened like years ago, where they were overworking their employees, all that stuff. That all came out.
I'm kind of glad you didn't go to even though Activision and Blizzard were like the kings at the time, they have just like dropped off so much now. Like everyone knows who they are, but in a bad light.
That's sad.
I still think Bethesda is up there still.
Your thing is, they're having to rekindle their reputation too because of Fallout 76. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
I feel like right now,
aren't they? They're still supporting it, right? Fallout 76.
They are.
I don't know.
They're fixing it. Seeing is, they're doing the thing that No Man's Sky did. I can't remember what their name is. I can't remember their studio name is. God. But the people who worked on No Man's Sky, how it came out in this destructive mess, and they've just kept updating over the years. And now, honestly, as a studio, they have like the utmost respect from at least everyone because they consistently work on it without making no microtransactions, and you don't have to pay for any DLC. And you have free VR update, which is another game of its own self, honestly.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I'm actually surprised how these companies can do this, because sorry, I don't want to get off topic here too much, but I've worked at plenty of studios in the past, and like there's this new game that came out, Video Horror Society, VHS. I don't know if you guys heard about it.
Ooh, I like that name though.
It's like a competitor to Dead by Daylight, basically asymmetrical horror, and I love the game. I love the game so much, but I'm worried for it because it's got an uphill battle. They haven't really done any major advertising for it yet. And I've worked at plenty of studios where they've done that. They almost, at least some of the studios I've worked at, they expect like lightning in a bottle. And they expect like, word of mouth to really help with the game. And that just does not, it's lightning in a bottle for a reason. It's really hard to do. You can't rely on that. So I'm worried, about some game studios that do that they have to abandon.
I was gonna say after stream, I might have to get that from you.
How competitive is it to work at the gaming industry at a place like Riot Games? What is the work environment like for the gaming industry?
It can be very competitive for sure. I mean, that story I just told about how I got my first job, even the CEO said he's after I worked there for 3 years, he's like, to this day, we still have never hired anyone like we did with you. And I was blown away by that. So, but you have, I think, now more than ever too, because a lot of people keep growing up with video games. Yeah, I mean, you see more and more video games out there, but there are more jobs, but it's still very competitive. And there are some jobs, like even for me, being a UI designer, I originally wanted to be more of a 3D artist. That's how I broke in, was getting into more like I said, like 3D texturing, stuff like that. But after a year of working on these, they were like player likenesses, baseball player heads. It got boring, and I'm like, I don't want this because it's not exciting. So the art director was looking for someone to help out with UI art. I said, look, you teach me the ropes. I got you covered. And that's, like I said, UI art, at least back then, not as many people wanted to do it. It didn't seem as glamorous of a job. So, but there's a lot of job security. If you're good at what you do in it, you'll be okay. But I think the more competitive part of game development from an art standpoint, definitely like concept art, modelers, and of course, the bar has been set so much higher now with modern technology. Like, you got to be not just knowledgeable in like ZBrush and stuff like that, but you got to be good. You got to be really good at sculpting, especially when you do like more realistic stuff. So it's
I know
it's
what that's
very
like.
it's extremely competitive, right? And even when you're working in the studio, you can't just slack off. You gotta keep performing and prove that you are there for a reason. Even though they might claim you are here because you're good. Well, yeah, that's true, but it's still, what have you done for me lately at times?
Are you saying that it's sometimes cutthroat?
Oh, I haven't experienced that much myself in the game industry, but I've definitely I've seen it more like secondhand. I don't like playing those games. I don't like it at all. I avoid that kind of drama. I have enough drama in my life. I don't need more of it. I don't like stirring the pot and kissing butt to try and get ahead. Like, I'll let my work speak for itself. Like, if I'm performing and doing well, then there you go. Like, give me a promotion if you want me to have it and all that. As long as I keep getting raises and all that stuff, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty solid. But some people they do want to climb that ladder faster, and they will do probably some pretty gross things to achieve whatever they want. I think it's common in like any kind of like industry.
Yeah, but say like that's common across any kind of industry at this point, because you keep hearing it from. Like, I know you get it from the gaming industry, but you also get it from, like, law firms and get it from hospitals and all that stuff. Can't remember what they're from.
Whatever kind of business you're doing or career, there's always going to be cutthroat people. No matter what.
There's going to be people out there who will want to cheat. They want to make it their way up faster, so they'll do something disgusting for it and not look back at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, another thing though, I do work in an area where I work in the construction industry, and like you can kiss ass as much as you want. Once you reach like a certain level, there's nothing more you can do about it. So it depends on where you work. It could be like having to deal with people that are trying to climb on top of you. That must be really annoying. I don't personally go through that stuff, but it must be like kind of annoying. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I especially if you can see right through them, like that is one of the most frustrating things.
Yeah, you see what their little game they're playing, what they're trying to do. It's like, oh, it's aggravating. I feel lucky because I don't have to deal with that.
A couple of coworkers that probably have done that to other people. Of course, you're not going to name them, but I'm pretty sure you've seen it.
At least once I have, and surprisingly, it's more related to my area, like which is art, because with art it's a little bit different. Unless you're getting into more managerial type stuff, with art it's different because like I said, your work speaks for itself. Like you're going to get promoted based on the quality of work that you do. But things start changing a little bit once you start going into management. If you want to take that path, personally, I'd rather not. It just doesn't appeal to me. I don't mind managing or helping ramp up more junior level artists. That's fine, but I don't want to be stuck under paperwork and trying to kiss the right booty. You know what I'm saying? And it's not for me.
What? Okay. On a positive note, what has been one of the most memorable moments so far working in the game industry?
Definitely, it's that one moment that I've already hinted at. That first job that I got. It was the first job that I got at Kush Games. They're not around anymore. They got bought out by 2K, and later that CEO went on to open up a place called Zindagi Games. I don't know if they're still around either or not. They may have been. They were working on some what was it? The Sony Move, right? I think that's what it was called. Years ago, they made the prepackaged game that came with the Sony Move. So they made bank off that. I mean, I think to the point where that former art director that I mentioned, I'm getting off topic here. I think he was driving around in some a fancy Corvette or Porsche or something like that. I don't know, but you can make some good money in this game in the game industry for sure. But back to my story, it was walking out of that place out of Kush Games. With that job, I felt like I was on cloud nine. I mean, it was still one of the most memorable, and how I achieved it by going door to door like that, just coming out of there with a job, it was a sense of validation. Like, okay, this is it. Even though I still have to prove myself to this company, it just an amazing feeling. And even though Riot Games, they're very rigorous with their interview process. I mean, my process wasn't as bad because they really they were trying to get Valorant out the door, and they needed people to help out, people who were experienced with shipping games and stuff. So it was still maybe about a 3 to 4 week process for me, but it could take months to get hired by Riot. And even though I got that job, I'm telling you that first experience getting that job was the pinnacle for me, as far as feeling the good vibes,
So why does it take so long to recruit people? Is it because they have a lot of questions? They do background checks? They ask your previous job? They ask for portfolios? Why does it take so long?
It's very exhaustive with them. I mean, they do definitely. They have because there are some places I've interviewed where it was softball toss kind of questions, and they kind of. It's almost like with some companies, when you get flown out or whatever, they interview you on site. It's almost like a formality. They're just oh, they just want to make sure your personality's good and all that, and that you're a good fit culturally. And I mean that's true as well with Riot, but they still put you through the ringer there. And I don't blame them. I think it's also because they have that luxury, the fact that they are a big studio, a huge freaking company, with so many different sister satellite studios, and one coming here to Seattle, for instance. They literally have their pick. So they can, and they're making good money. So they can have their pick of the litter basically, and they want to make absolutely sure that the people that they bring in are, good cultural fits, that they are cream of the crop, artists, engineers, take any profession. Yeah, basically that's all it is. So, yeah, versus more indie studios, if they vibe with you, they like your art style, you're hired for that specific reason. You might go in for one interview and get a job offer before you leave. It just varies.
All right. For anyone who would want to get into the gaming industry as an artist, what would you recommend to them?
So you could always go this route. I'll never stop thanking my friend from back in the day. I was at a weird position. Like I said, we were working on it was a World War II total conversion on the Half-Life 2 engine. So we're taking the Half-Life engine and then just repurposing it to be a World War II simulation game, basically. Or like there's a hardcore, experience, basically. And, but he urged me to do that, to like work on 3D modeling, animation, and stuff like that, to help build portfolio pieces. That never even occurred to me. Like, I'm the one applying or trying to get into this industry, and he's the one giving me advice. I was like, "What? That was outstanding advice." So always, especially if you're an artist, always work on your content, build up your portfolio. Make sure too, if you want to do character art. I hate to say this for the furry fandom, but you got to get some like non-furry stuff in there. I'm telling you, because I don't. It's not going to help your chances getting in the game industry if you have only furry stuff. I
it's
guarantee
good that you
it.
can draw anthropomorphic characteristics, but you also need to draw humanoids.
Oh
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, because not everyone's a furry.
Stuff is a very small community. You need to it's a small thing. You need to have variety, of course.
Yep.
No,
Yeah,
exactly.
definitely. But yeah, outside of that, I'd say if you want to do proper schooling, go for it. But again, and for certain backgrounds, like if you want to be an engineer, again, you've got to go to school. You have to. As far as I'm concerned, you can teach yourself, but I don't know if you can get away with just, here are 3 games I put on iPhone or whatever, or an Unreal Engine. I built this little project. Check it out. That kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe you can get away with that. I think with art, you do have a chance of that. But I know that game studios also look to see how good you are with collaboration too. So doing side projects, going also to school, see how much you can deal with learning basically, and being in those team environments tells more about you. So, yeah.
So pretty much it sounds like it's a full-time job before a full-time job.
In a way, yeah. I mean, and it depends on where you go to school too. Like, I went to University of Georgia, so like, back then in like the early 2000s, it was a very. Yeah, I went to University
You went
of
to
Georgia.
UGA.
Yep.
Coltyn went to UGA.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, go Dogs!
I graduated.
that's right. That's right. You also live in. You also lived in Atlanta. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, it was. That's
We both might grew up together.
Wow. Jeez, this is why. This is why we vibe together.
Small
This
world.
is why. That's the reason.
I used to live in. I don't know if they're still there anymore, but I used to live in Creswell Hall and Reed Hall.
Yes!
Their dorms.
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Oh my God, get out.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
Okay. That was awesome.
I might have an
That's a
action
little
actually.
fun, though.
When you're UI artist, I'm guessing you must be working a lot of people. Like you need to set like a system of communication. What do you guys use to be able to communicate between teams and stuff?
Yeah, so we use more for like, there's email, but for like text-based interactions, you have Slack, and that's kind of like instant messenger services that. But then we also use Google Hangouts too. Google Hangouts and Zoom. There's a whole bunch of different things. So for like the larger team meetings or like presentations from like the more company-wide stuff, they'll use like Zoom or something like that. For more team-based stuff, like daily stand-ups and stuff like that, we'll use like Google Hangouts. And then again, like you can still do like one-on-ones and stuff like that in Slack. Though the problem with Slack is you can't do video calls. But the nice thing about Slack, I wish everyone implemented this. They have a pen tool. So when we are talking and doing a screen share, you can do screen shares at least. And you're showing me your screen. I'm like, wait, no, it's not here in the hierarchy. You got to go over here. Let's grab a little pen tool and circle it. Like this is where you want to go. So you get to see exactly
And it
where I'm
shows
talking.
on their screen.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, that
It's
is
so
cool. Oh my
That is
god, I wish I
cool.
could use that with my
sounds
clients.
amazing.
Yeah, I want Hangouts, I
that'd
want
be great.
Discord. Everything's got to have that, man. It's such a good tool.
I wanted to, before I get to my next one, I wanted to ask a quick question, and then maybe it's something that you can answer. So a lot of gaming users who play, or that are really hyped for games based on trailers, the graphics looks great on the trailers, but it ends up being low budget. Why do gaming companies do that sometimes? They hype it up to that extreme, but then they just put low budgets into that.
Kind of makes me think of Metal Gear Solid PlayStation 1.